David Benavidez versus Oleksandr Gvozdyk, 12 rounds in the 175-pound division. That's right, 175, not 168. Let's get into it. Let's start with David Benavidez. 28 wins, no losses, 24 wins by way of knockout. There was a lot of fighters last year that had great years. But I think Benavidez might have slightly been underappreciated last year in terms of someone who also had a great year that went under the radar. You might not feel like that, but I kind of do personally. His fight against Caleb Plant was an excellent win and arguably the best performance to date. You know, he came into that fight in great physical shape. That's one of the things that has been following David Benavidez is his physical shape that he comes into fight. But man, he was toned. He was shredded up for that fight. He knew the severity of that fight and what that could do for him moving forward. Caleb Plant is a very skilled boxer, quick hands, smart IQ, good footwork, good feet. And he was fresh off of a knockout of the year candidate against Anthony Durrell. So Plant had a lot of momentum and confidence going into that fight, and he performed very well against Canelo Alvarez. Plant does a whole lot of good things inside the ring, man. And he knows how to gauge the distance, create separation, use his boxing skill to get the upper hand, especially early on in the fight. As many of us kind of thought, we felt like Caleb Plant was going to win the early part of that fight, and we'd see if David Benavidez was going to be able to come on late. So Benavidez needed to find a way how to slow Plant down, find a way to cut off the ring at the right time, and not get frustrated with how long it might take for him to slow Caleb Plant down. Because Caleb Plant can frustrate you because he's always moving. He's got the hand speed and the quick counters to be able to put together combinations quick to keep you honest and to keep you away from him. That being said, Benavidez was landing some good shots early in the fight. It just wasn't as consistent as I'm sure he would have liked it to be. But the thing, man, when you're fighting David Benavidez is he's heavy, constant, relentless pressure. He's an imposing figure. He is much more skilled than he looks. You know, he might not have the best footwork. He's flat-footed at times, but at the same time, man, when he is in close range, that man has every type of punch inside of the skill set in the bag that you would want a fighter to have. Benavidez can put together a six-piece combination like clockwork, man. It's pretty too. I forgot who he was fighting one time. It might have been David Lemieux. But it was one of those situations where Benavidez put off an eight-piece combinations, and 5 to 6 of those shots were just left-handed uppercuts. It was mad. I'm saying it was mad. But that's what Benavidez does, man. He keeps pressing forward, and he tires you out, and he breaks you down. I don't think he has one-shot knockout type of power. He's an accumulation and volume type of guy, and he's an excellent finisher. After the 8th round of that fight, man, that's when Benavidez started to get to Plant and started to slow him down and hurt him, right? He changed some of the ways that he was finding his way to get through his shots. Caleb Plant is a pretty good defensive fighter, man, and Benavidez had to switch how he was landing these shots. So he had to loop shots in. He had to come around the high guard. Sometimes he had to come under the high guard. He had to do different ways how to make his attack work in his favor. I also think that Plant got tired and his technique kind of faded a little bit, and he was forced to stand in the pocket way longer than he wanted to be. And he had to stand because his legs wasn't working as well, right? He was fatigued. And when your legs aren't working as well, man, it's hard to maneuver around the ring that you're used to when you got a guy who was coming forward at you and just waiting for the right time and waiting for you to slow up. And that's what David Benavidez did, and he was able to take over. And the shots that he wasn't really having the most success with in the early part of the fight were starting to land at a quicker rate, and they were really starting to make a difference in this fight. And if Caleb Plant wasn't so tough and didn't have a heart of a true champion, man, he would have went down. Plant was able to finish the fight, but, as the fight went on, you could see the momentum was really starting to swing heavily in the favor of David Benavidez, and he would go on to get the win. But he had to be patient that fight, and he had to find a way to slow down a skilled mover, and he did just that, man. And I was very impressed with how he won the fight, not just by him winning the fight, but how he was able to do it. Excellent game plan, great adjustments, and like a true champion, when you are having the momentum, you got to ride the wave and find a way how to win that fight. That's what champions do. After that, he fought Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, a fighter that at one point, not a lot of people wanted to fight Andrade because Andrade posed a threat, whether you like him or not. Talented boxer, athletic, strong, awkward at times, explosive, and has good pop in his shots, man. But Andrade found himself in trouble early. I'm not sure why he decided to stand in the pocket as often as he did in that fight, but I don't think that was the great idea. Andrade usually is able to, be in the pocket when he needs to, spin his opponents one way, but also go back to boxing. I feel like he needed to take a couple pages out of Caleb Plant's game plan and implement it in this one. But especially staying in the pocket when you're coming up to face the bigger man in his division, Benavidez, when he rehydrates, is probably, 180 plus, and Benavidez has got fantastic condition, and he's the younger man by quite a bit of years as well too, man. So it wasn't the best night for Demetrius Andrade, but it was another great night for David Benavidez. I don't think it was the right game plan for Demetrius Andrade, but again, who am I to say? I'm not in his camp. I'm not a trainer. I'm just from the outside looking in. But that version of Demetrius Andrade, man, is not the version that personally I was accustomed to seeing or thinking that was going to be the game plan. I thought he was going to be a little bit more on the outside, bide his time, fight in spurts, and just try to outbox David Benavidez. But it also goes to show Benavidez just continues to improve and get better. He stopped someone who's never been stopped before, and he did it in 6 rounds. So this is David Benavidez's first fight at 175 pounds. And I was talking to my guy, John, man. Shout out to my guy, Jay Mueller, in the comment section, man. And Benavidez at this weight, I think he's going to be stronger. He wasn't this elusive footwork mover type of boxer to begin with. And I think at 175, man, with his style, his volume, and his conditioning, man, I think he will be able to bring a lot more punishment to his opponents at 175. But obviously, we're going to see what he looks like. This is just speculation. This is just talk. And we're going to see what he does look like at 175, man. But I think we're going to see a more elevated version of the man that they call the Mexican Monster. But let's talk about his opponent, Oleksandr Gvozdyk. 20 wins, 1 loss, 16 wins by way of knockout. It's been a while since we saw the Gvozdyk that version that fought Adonis Stevenson, where he stopped him in the 11th round after getting clipped himself with the left hand that leaned him on the ropes, and he got back up and he found a way to return fire and get the stoppage win against Stevenson and becoming a champion on the night. Very good fight. That fight had a little bit of everything. It had big punches. It had boxing skills. It had knockouts like we want to see. But it's been a while since we've seen that version of Oleksandr Gvozdyk. It's been a while since we've seen the version that fought Artur Beterbiev in a fight where both men left everything in the ring, especially Gvozdyk. He took the fight to Beterbiev and was taking risks. You're going to need to do that when you're fighting guys like Benavidez or Beterbiev. Gvozdyk was trying to beat him to the punch, right? And Gvozdyk was trying to make sure that he was the one to impose his will. He was the one to kind of push the pace rather than waiting for the heavy-handed wrecking ball in Beterbiev. I got to make sure I make him uncomfortable before he starts to get going. And I felt like he was landing some nice shots on AB, right? Good combinations, nice jabs, using his footwork to kind of stay out of the way. He was going to the body very well too. But every time Beterbiev, man, touched Gvozdyk, it looked like he was feeling it, especially those body shots. But, you know, like most fighters, Gvozdyk was hiding it, playing poker, using the poker face very well. And he was letting his hands go. You know, I think he actually hurt Beterbiev in the 6th round as they were exchanging in the middle. I felt like Gvozdyk fought Beterbiev as best as he could for as long as he could, but the pressure and the power started to get to him, especially in that 9th round. Things really started to change. Beterbiev started to let his hands go, and we know when he lets his hands go, we know the thudding sounds and the heavy-handedness that he does possess. It just breaks you down and it rips you apart, man. That man is a punishing guy to fight. And Gvozdyk, after the 9th round, was starting to fade, starting to get tired. The pressure was getting to him, and he started to slow down more and more and more. He got knocked down twice in the 10th round before getting stopped. So even though it wasn't the outcome that Gvozdyk wanted, man, he gave a very brave and valiant, courageous effort against Beterbiev, who we know punishes people. After that, he took some time away, and we recently only saw him back last year. So from a timeline standpoint, from 2019 to 2023, he wasn't in the ring. I'm sure he was training, but we didn't physically see him fight. He then comes back, and now he's on a 3-fight win streak. He stopped Ricards Bolotniks in 6 rounds and looked decent doing it. You could see he was trying to get some rounds in, trying to, you know, muscle memory, trying to get all of the things that made him successful firing back. Even though he was a little bit older, the jab still looked good. The combination still looked pretty decent. He did look a little slower, but he's older, so that's kind of expected. He's still got power. He's still an accurate puncher, and he can still put forth some good, solid fights. I think he's still got a couple more good fights left in him if he chooses to continue to fight post David Benavidez, whether he wins or he loses. But the experience and the power is still there. In his recent fight, he stopped Isaac Rodriguez in 2 rounds. A right hand from in close that didn't seem like it had a lot of power on it, but it had enough to put him down. So a lot of questions here coming into this fight. Mainly, can Gvozdyk turn back the hands one more time to take on the younger man on the night? Does he have enough at this stage in his career to beat the younger man? So who wins? Before I give my pick on this fight, I have something real quick to share. You know, I'm always looking to bring more light, more value, more opportunities for the community. I've been working on a few different things in recent weeks to not just grow the channel, but as I said, to continue to provide as much value as I can to each of you in our community. With that being said, I got some exciting news to share. I'm happy to announce my partnership with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert. It's a great opportunity for you to join some of the best sports books to get the best odds and new user offer. All you have to do is head over to my dedicated page at signupexpert.com/thebreakdown to explore a selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with its own unique offerings. So if you want to place a bet this weekend and on this fight and beyond, check out the link to find the best options for you in your region. Every sign up does support the channel, and it helps the channel grow and to expand and to create more opportunities, not just for me, but for our community. You know, I'm always looking out for you guys as best as I can. You can easily find the link in the description below this videos moving forward. So get down there and check it out and find the best option for you. Now, let's get back to the video. I think Gvozdyk has a great shot at beating David Benavidez, man. I think he's going to give him a very tough fight. I think he's still got the skills, he's got the experience, and he's not going to lie down for David Benavidez by no means. He's got the power. He doesn't look as great as he did movement wise as well too. And when the legs start to fade, the younger man, who's always in great condition inside of the ring, man, is going to put a lot of pressure on you. And what his strength is, the movement usually helps him create separation. And when you don't have that, it could be a challenge. I haven't really seen that dynamic footwork and fluid footwork that we're usually accustomed to. I didn't see that in his last 3 fights. Not that he needed to at the same time, because, you know, those opponents were not the greatest opposition, tough guys, but not the greatest opposition to really test him too much. But I wonder how much more does his legs have left, you know? When Benavidez turned up the pressure and really started to let his hands go, you know, it was tiring out Gvozdyk, and those shots started to get through more and more. And Benavidez, in some ways, comes from that heavy pressure type of school that Benavidez comes with, where he breaks you down and he tires you out because he's constantly pressuring you and it's relentless. And when he's in close, man, the combinations are going to come often, and they're going to come with some steam behind them. Gvozdyk is going to have to use his legs to help him evade some of that pressure. But can he do that for 12 rounds, right? Against a younger, hungry, volume punching, relentless machine in Benavidez? I do think, as I said at the beginning, that Gvozdyk can win this fight, man. Anything can happen in boxing, as we know. The right shot at the right time can change the trajectory of this fight. And Benavidez is the one coming up, not Gvozdyk going down. So it's in his weight division. But I'm just not sure that Gvozdyk will be able to turn back the hands of time one more time. I like David Benavidez to win this fight by late stoppage. I think he tires out the older fighter and gets to him in the latter part of the fight, and he's able to close out the show. But I'm looking forward to seeing what David Benavidez does look like at 175. And personally, I want to see him get tested, and I want to see him have to dig again to get the win. I think Gvozdyk can be the test to give him that, but I'm not sure that Gvozdyk has enough on the night to be able to get the win against the younger man on the night. So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear from you. How do you have this one? Who do you think wins? Let me know in the comment section below. I don't always get to do all the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below, but if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you that week. Or if you'd like to become a member just to show love and to support the channel, man, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Shout out to all the members holding down the membership section, man. I appreciate each of you. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll definitely see you next time.